Stimulus checks in June of 2023. I have got a ton of updates for you. We're going to be discussing ones for everybody in the nation, along with some where you got to be eligible, and there's deadlines. They're going to be closing here very soon. And some of these, if you're on Social Security, you can get them. If you're single mothers, there's different various eligibility requirements, and you've got a limited amount of time. So I'm going to make sure that nobody that watches my channel misses out on anything. I'm going to get you guys caught up on everything having to do with stimulus checks in June of 2023. Now, first off, let's talk about to everybody in the nation. Take a look at this headline. Came out yesterday. Stimulus check update. New proposal could give Americans monthly $1,200 checks. Now, I've reported on this to you in the past as it was just reintroduced. I'm going to get you some more details on monthly reoccurring checks to everybody in the nation. Now, also, let's get you caught up on some of these deadlines that you need to know about for states, cities, and counties. Many of these, most people don't even realize exist. Direct payments worth up to $500 are going to be sent out today. That was actually yesterday, so I'm going to get you some details on that one. Direct payments worth up to $1,000 to be issued out in New Mexico tomorrow. That was on the 19th, so those checks should have started going out on the 20th. Also, applications for monthly $1,000 direct payments close in 11 days, so you guys have got a window of opportunity here for this particular one. You have got to apply before the window closes. First direct payments of $500 guaranteed income programs arriving in 9 days. And another one, direct payments worth up to $500 to be issued to recipients in Wisconsin in 8 days. And I've let you guys know in the past from the www.relief roadmap, my comprehensive list of all the checks in the nation, that there were 3 different programs where I saw they were working on for Wisconsin. One of them is now coming to fruition. And also, as I mentioned, we're going to be discussing checks to everybody in the nation. And I've been following this for you on the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget's COVID Money Tracker. They've got all the stimulus provisions from packages in the past, all the money tracked, and they're showing you what's still available, and we still have $300 billion left over from previous packages, unused, untouched, and this also includes some of the clawbacks that came out of that debt ceiling negotiation. We're still sitting on $300 billion. So, let's go ahead and get you caught up on the latest on stimulus checks very quickly so that way you can know and make sure that you do not miss out on anything. Now, before we do me a quick favor. Smash the like button very quickly if you appreciate the updates. Helps me out a ton. And if you want to stay up to date, hit subscribe. It's totally free. Why not? And if you want to help support the channel and become a member, get some more direct access to me directly for any questions, be sure to hit that join button. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in and get you caught up on the latest on June of 2023 stimulus checks. All right, so we're going to be talking about federal level checks to everybody in the nation here in just a second. But first, let's cover these time-sensitive deadlines so that way if people are eligible, they can apply right away. And as you guys know, I cite all the sources, put it on the screen, read right from it so you can see it's the latest. So if you are eligible for these, please apply. I will link them in the description. Click the links, go to the sites, and make sure that you get in before the windows close. So this first one, in 11 days, it says a guaranteed income program for monthly payments of $1,000 over the course of the next 2 years in Los Angeles County is still accepting applications for the next 11 days. So if you're in Los Angeles County, this is applicable to you. Now, the program is Breathe. They're going to select 200 applicants who are former foster children to receive these payments over the course of the next 2 years. The application window opened on Tuesday, and it will close on July 3rd at midnight. So be sure to get in if you can. And again, as I mentioned, this is not for everybody, but if you are eligible, you're going to want to take advantage of these. Some of these are for the elderly, for Social Security, for foster children, for single mothers. They vary program to program. Next up, direct payments worth up to $1,000 to be issued in New Mexico tomorrow. And it says New Mexico will be issuing tax rebates worth up to $1,000 to eligible taxpayers on Tuesday. So this should have came out this week already. If you haven't received it, it should be on the way. All residents of the state who filed their 2021 taxes are eligible. Single filers will receive $500, and married couples filing jointly will receive $1,000. Those who have selected the option can have their funds delivered via direct deposit, which will be sent out on Tuesday. The rest will be issued paper checks, which will be printed between June 20th and June 29th, so those should be on the way here very soon in New Mexico. Also, direct payments worth up to $500 are going to be sent out today. A program sending $500 monthly payments to 305 families in Sonoma County, California. And yes, there are a ton of programs in California. As I've shared with you, www.reliefroadmap.com, I've got a list of over 100 different ones, and about 25-30 of them are for California alone. And these ones for Sonoma County, the payments were just sent out this week. Now, this is the Pathway to Income Equity pilot program for 305 families. Out of the 6,450 applicants, they picked 300. Now, also, we're hearing there could be new rounds. So even though if you miss the windows of opportunity, keep an eye on these programs because more money could be on the way. Also, first direct payments of $500 guaranteed income program arriving in 9 days. This one is for El Monte, California, and they're going to start sending out those payments. Recipients of this program should receive their payments on a debit card at the start of every month, and the first payments are going to be going out on June 30th. And this one is for single mothers. And again, this is going to be linked in the description below for you. And also Wisconsin, direct payments worth up to $500 are going to be issued out in 8 days. A guaranteed income program in Wisconsin issues its latest payments worth $500 to recipients in just a week. Now, the payments are from the Madison Forward Fund, which sends monthly payments to recipients on the first day of every month. A total of 155 households in Madison, Wisconsin receive these payments every month, and they are free to spend the money in a way that they see fit. And again, we've actually heard of 2 other ones that could be happening in Wisconsin as well. All right, so now let's talk about stimulus checks to everybody in the nation. And as I mentioned to you, there was a new proposal that was reintroduced by Ilhan Omar to give everybody in the nation $1,200 checks per month. Now, in April, Ilhan Omar voiced her opinion on supporting 2 proposals, which could benefit millions of American families. Now, one of these are likely to happen, the other one not so much. Now, the first would provide an income floor for everyone in the face of inequality. Meanwhile, the second proposal would make the expanded child tax credits permanent. Now, the child tax credits, as I've let you know here on the channel, we are likely to see those come back. We've heard there's bipartisan support, but there are discrepancies as to the eligibility requirements. But they're saying the child tax credits, along with Social Security reform, are going to be on the way here. Now, the one for the stimulus checks, well, we're going to be taking a look at that in more detail here. Now, first, Omar said that she will keep pushing for measures such as the guaranteed income through legislative proposals like the SUPPORT Act. The SUPPORT Act would ostensibly send $1,200 per month checks to every adult and $600 monthly checks to every child through local governments via cash payments over the next 5 years. So stimulus checks every single month to everybody for 5 years. This bill builds on successful guaranteed income pilot programs that we have seen in localities nationwide, including Minneapolis and St. Paul, and some of the other ones that I just mentioned to you in California and Wisconsin and other cities. Now, in addition to that, Omar, along with Rashida Tlaib and Jesus Garcia, reintroduced the End Child Poverty Act, which would replace the child tax credit and the child provisions in the EITC, or the Earned Income Tax Credit, with a universal child benefit according to the statement. So they are pushing for stimulus checks to everybody in the nation and child tax credits. And again, this article just came out yesterday, so there is still a push for monthly reoccurring stimulus checks and child tax credits. However, without a doubt, one of the biggest obstacles for something like this to happen is the price tag. And as you know, right now we are in a very high inflationary environment in our economy, and also interest rates are getting cranked up, and we're hearing that things could be getting bad here very soon, which they're saying if things get really, really bad for our economy and a lot of people start facing unemployment, stimulus checks might be necessary. However, as it stands for the pandemic, we've heard the state of emergency has come to an end, so it is highly unlikely that we will see any more new funds issued out by Congress, and it's highly unlikely that there would be support for another stimulus check, a fourth check for the pandemic. But they're saying there have been checks in the past. There will be checks in the future. It's going to be dependent upon the state of our economy and whether or not we're going to be entering into a recession or potentially a depression. It just depends on how bad things get, as if they'll see whether or not we'll need another check. Now, also, on the COVID money tracker, as I've shared with you guys here on the channel, they keep track of all the funds and the leftover stimulus. And you can see here the orange bar, legislative action. They had allocated $6 trillion to go out to help for stimulus, And at this present time, they've used 5.7 trillion, meaning that there remains $300 billion of leftover funds. And if we scroll down, we can take a look at the direct payments right here, the stimulus checks, and you can see the various price tags. The third check of $1,400 cost a little bit over $400 billion. The first stimulus check of $1,200 cost almost $300 billion, which means that we could use the remaining funds and send out another $1,200 check. But keep in mind, if we had monthly checks, that would be a $300 billion price tag roughly every single month. And as I mentioned, in this inflationary environment, in the state of our economy, it just seems highly unlikely that there would be bipartisan support in Congress to start spending that much money when really we're trying to do cuts and pull back on spending. So at this time, just my opinion, I might totally be wrong. It seems very unlikely that there would be monthly reoccurring checks. But again, we will see. I will keep you up to date on whatever unfolds here on the channel so that way you know the latest and exactly what's going on. And speaking of which, if you collect Social Security, there are 6 big changes taking place right now in summer of 2023. And to get the latest on that, be sure to check out this video right here next. But with that being said, you guys, that is the latest on stimulus checks. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.